Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in and check out your boy, P Funk, thinking right out here in the lab. Where I do what I do for you. I got a nice lesson for you. Going to wrap up. We're going to do the fourth parable. Let's get it going. Rightism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. The message in the story for life. I give life lessons. You tune and receiving them. We got a good thing going. Let's continue. Right thinkers mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinkers way of life through mental and spiritual discipline daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. That's my mission, to get all right thinkers to do just that. So I'm on my grind, giving you the information that you need to do just that. Know thyself. That's my mission. It should be your goal. Let's go. Let's work together. Know thyself. I asked the question, do you know you? It's rhetorical, but if you don't have the answer for yourself, tune in. I can help you with that. That's what I do for you. Let's go. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard that. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. You can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believes and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows but knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself. And to my out, be true. Wrapping up. No, we ain't wrapping up. I still got some more lessons in here, but this is gonna be a good lesson. Just the title is right thing. Let's talk about the fourth parable, and that's the art of mastering humility. Mm-hmm. Where is that? Okay, master humility over the delusion of what the egoistic desires. You're gonna have a lucidity of the mind, aka detachment from the ego. Oh, I got some good information on this one. All right, let's go. The fourth parable. The fourth parable relates to what? Humility, mastering of humility. Humility is a quality that should not be confused with humiliation. Two different things. It is an advanced quality which allows a person to what? Rise above the lower self, aka the ego, by sublimating the negative aspects of your ego. You have to conquer the ego. Think about it. Now, you may know people or may even recognize yourself acting in what? In an egoistic way based on what? Foolish pride in your own physical prowess, strength, beauty, and possessions, fame, etc. All physical things that you think makes you a better person because you may be built different, you got better things than other people, more stuff, but that's all irrelevant. Why? These egoistic patterns, what, have been developed as you grew up in what? This society. We live in a capitalist society, moralist society. And watch this. You accepted its values which emphasize physical beauty, sexuality, sex sales, fame, wealth, and so on. Again, all materialistic stuff to keep you jumping through hoops, put you on the hamster wheel to go doing a bunch of nonsensical stuff that ain't gonna do nothing for you in the end. But if these values are correct, watch this. If that's what's good, watch this. Why is it that the people who have the most money, rich people, who got the most fame, everybody know you, and opportunity for what? Sex, relations, plastic surgery, and notoriety, fame in the world, and they are not the happiest people in the world. That's self-evident right there that all those things don't make you happy, but a lot of us think they do. Moving on. Now, but why is it that they are susceptible to what? The same failings, same misfortunes, the same calamities as all other people. They're no different. Trust me. And we all think, oh, he got a better life because he got more money. No, he got his own problems. Again, I teach. Stop worrying about somebody else's journey. You have no idea what they go through, so it ain't none of your business for real. So do you. That's what this is about. So there is a great illusion. Here we go. In what? In popular society that most people follow without examining closely. I was one. I got caught up in the hype. That, watch this, that there is some situation, possession, or person in the world that can what? Bring them happiness. Once you realize that fact that nothing in the world can bring you happiness other than you knowing yourself and doing what you need to do for yourself, you're going to chase your tail. You're going to go round and round, reincarnate, and keep coming back. Okay. People have been searching for what? Such objects since what? Since the beginning of time. Without any success. Again, it gets you nothing. It goes nowhere, but we still practice it. Moving on. Now, had Hadoop, which represents you, had what? Searched for it in vain. When you're searching for happiness in the world, your search is in vain. Now, watch this. What happened? She realized that what she was searching for was something what she already had within herself. You're looking for God in all the wrong places. If you're looking anywhere in yourself, you're looking in the wrong place. And religion sends you on a wild goose chase for God, not telling you he's up there, he's out there, yeah, all that nonsense. So moving on. When you come to grips and realize that, that's the whole purpose of teaching our ancient ancestor concepts, why they put God in you. That's the main thing. And no person or living creature, what, can escape, misconnect, or the jaws of what? Death. If you're born, your destiny is to die physically. You're going to die. That's what mortality is about. Immortality means you wasn't born and you're not going to die. That's the spirit. That's God. Watch this. No person escapes. No living creature escapes misconnect, and that's what we call karma or death, destination. This must be clearly understood. If you're afraid to die, you're really missing the whole concept of life. Life, death, birth, death. You see where we're going with this? So it's imminent. It's imminent for the physical body to die. But watch this. Your ego, hear this, understand this. Your ego is not a real part of what your personality. What you mean? You just said that's what. Oh, whoa, whoa. See again. Calm down, relax. One thing at a time. Remember, never mind what I told you. I told you that I need to tell you that then. Right now, I'm telling you, watch this. I'm explaining it to you. Your ego is not a real part of your personality. It is an illusion. You think these things. And when you take God out, the ego has edged God out. So it don't see its higher self. That's why. And watch this. It's illusion, which what? Which you are what? Sustaining. How? Due to an error in your understanding of who? Your true higher self. In other words, you're ignorant. Why? Because you're letting the ego self run the show, which is godless. The other man, pure ego. Okay? Watch this. Now, your ego, hear it, meaning your personality. I got another lesson for that, but watch this. Your sense organs, the physical body, and thoughts are in what? Reality, transient aspects of yourself. All those things will perish. They are instruments that the soul uses in order to have experience in the world of time and space. I tell you, we are spiritual beings by nature, having a human experience when we come into the physical form. And we come here for a reason and a purpose. Everybody, every individual had to figure out their reason and purpose. I'm trying to get my right thinkers to know themselves. That's your purpose. Anything other than that, you'll see, like everybody else, it's a passing phase. Knowing thyself is the end all be all. Okay. Now, so watch this. There are not, they are not absolute realities. Nothing here is real. This is why, watch this. At the time of death, the unenlightened, okay, the unenlightened soul is scared to death. And watch this. It sheds the personality and the ego and what moves on to what other experiences. It's done with that. Why? The ego self is in the physical body that you're in. That's not the real you. The essence of who you are is what's going to go on. But the ego self, you're conscious of who you are, dies. It will what? It will reincarnate at some point in time in the future, and watch this, and use what? A new ego personality. Everybody's born with this in their head. That's your personality. That's how you identify with. But you got to realize you are somebody else other than what you're conscious of. That's why the heart and mind got to work together as one. Just watch this. Now, just as a person may change clothing, the spirit does the same thing. But when you act, here we go, when you act in accordance with righteousness, right thinking philosophy, aka Maya, you are also doing what? Putting down your ego. I tell you, put your foot on his neck. Why? Put him in the servitude position. Watch, they're going to tell you the same thing. Why? When the ego is not given prominence or voice or anything in the in the personality, what happened? When the ego is not in control, what happens? It becomes an instrument instead of an obstruction. It will work, but you don't want it to be in charge. It becomes, watch this, a servant instead of a slave master who forces you, the person, into what? Situations and entanglements which at the beginning may seem promising or promise of happiness, but which later on will lead to what? Great pain and sorrow and suffering of disappointment because of your expectations and your desires to get what you thought you were going to get. Rise above that, and what happened when a person overlooks performing correct action in favor of what? Self-indulgence and personal desires, their actions will be based on egoism. It won't be rewarded. It can't be blessed. Watch this. All they can do is receive the pleasures and fulfillment for the now. All actions, watch this, all actions that's tainted with egoism will what? Inevitably lead to disappointment, frustration, and at some point in time in the future, you will have to pay for your transgressions. You reap what you sow. Watch this. So therefore, the inability to what? Act in accordance with trust must be understood as a what? Deficit, defect in your personality. When you can't act in earnest and trust, that's a direct defect in your personality. A mental illness, it is the illness of what? Delusions. Delusion is what? Your delusion is now intensified by what? The activities which bolster what? The ego. Me, yeah. Okay. That's just boosting the ego. And watch this. And that serves to be what? Spiritual ignorance and the egoistic desires. So what? The pleasure seeking mentality. Gotta get. The pursuit of sensual pleasures. Gotta get mine. The desire to possess objects. I want a big car, fancy house. I want to be the man, okay? Fame and power for your what? Personal aggrandizement, okay? Meaning you want to self-fulfill yourself. And are all what? These are all examples of egoistic desires which lead to delusion and mental agitation. Why? Because it won't last and you're going to suffer. The spiritual teachings that I give allow you to what? Discover your higher form of fulfillment. Sorry, I was getting excited. Why? Because this is my goal. This is my point right here. And it allows you to what? Fully understand the underlying basis of creation, having a better understanding of your higher self, and the illusionariness of desiring fleeting egoistic pursuits and perishable objects. You know better now. You don't chase monetary things. You don't chase objects of the world. You chase your spiritual desires to become one with God, aka to know thyself. And you need to have what? Some relationships and possessions in the course of a normal life, which is fine. But however, here we go. However, you should never, hold on until onto anything what of the world, even as you are experiencing it and even possessing it, is only temporary. Your possessions and relationships should be based on what? Virtue and righteousness and truth, and never, ever on ostentatiousness. I had to look that word up. It means vulgar, pretentiousness, action, show off, hot dog, again, ego. That greed and obsession is greed and lust. All of those, again, Satanian concepts, all self pleasure, self aggrandizement. Okay? Now, the spiritual discipline lifestyle allows you the right thinking aspirant to what? To go beyond the erroneous desires of the pleasures of the flesh and the negative thoughts and bad feelings that what cause agitation to the mind. It shows you a person how to calm the mind. That's my purpose, to show you how to calm the mind. When the mind is calm, what happens? It becomes clearer, just as I tell you before, like a lake becomes clear when what? The waves subside, all the motion stops, and it's just clear. This calmness or serenity of the mind, when you go through meditative states, here we go, allows what? The real essence of you to become visible to you. And the ego becomes what? Transparent. It's an illusion. He know now he got no power like acting ghost. When he came back, he couldn't do nothing. He's there, but he ain't really there. That's what happens to the ego. Watch this. It becomes transparent. When the mind is cleansed, what happens? Your divine self comes what? Into clear view. I can see as the reality sustaining the ego. When the mind is purified, devoid of what? The pressure of desires and the illusions, one reaches a state of what? Harmony, heart mind coherence, which what? With the universe, aka the heart. This state of consciousness, I call it God conscious, which a person experience what? God experience, the mystical experience for himself. When the mind is serene, is referred to what? Lucidity of the mind. Lucidity is what? The quality which is characterized by what? Detachment from the ego and identification with what? The higher self, God. The ego self don't identify with God, just itself. So you got to raise your consciousness to go above that. And therefore, you have lucidity of the mind in what is the objective of all spiritual disciplines. Why? Because it leads to spiritual enlightenment, self knowledge, aka the best knowledge, and you have freedom from what? Ignorance. That's the bond that keeps you egoism and negative karma. When you live right, do right, and you neglect these things, eradicate them, you don't suffer negative karma. You are blessed with, you receive blessings as a reward for your good conduct and your good deeds. A person who is lucid, watch this, is free from attachments and internally fulfilled. I'm good. What I get or don't get don't make a difference. I'm good with what I got. He or she expresses what? Goodwill towards all and displays what? A gentle nature. I come in peace. I don't mean no harm. I ain't got no ill will to them. I'm in a good place in my life. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. And watch this. This was Hetero's condition When what? When she entered the city of Waset, when she went back home to be with her father. When you come home, you should be brought home with, what's this? And it is notable that Heru was what? A vicious beast. When she was in that state of dullness and agitation, she's a bad mama jamma. Okay? But then what happened? She reverted back to her true form when she became gentle, at ease, calm, a kind of calm. See? This points out the fact that the source of ugliness and negativity within every human personality lies in the state of mind which a person adopts. You create that monster. You create that, whatever it is, good or bad, it's your creation. And every time you create a monster, it will always what? Destroy you. Hence, self-destruction. That's set. The ego will turn on you. Watch this. The mindset which a person adopts is in accordance with what? With their level of spiritual evolution. So therefore, ignorance and delusions lead to ugliness and negativity in a form of anger, hatred, greed, selfishness, jealousy, conflict, frustration, and ending violence. That's the ego self. That's what you would do following your ego. On the other hand, you adopt and master serenity and lucidity of the mind, learning thyself, practicing Maya philosophy, and watch this. That mind, it leads to what? Expressions of peace, gentleness, compassion, love, and other virtuous qualities in one's personality once you wake up and realize who you are. I'm almost home. Okay, last one. We're going to deal with detachment. Detachment from what? Detachment from the ego self should not be a hard concept to understand. Why? Because most people's concept of self is based on their identification with who? Their ego self, meaning it's natural, it's understandable, but that's why raising your conscious level to above the ego self to your higher self. This is because what? The ego and its desires, longings, and beliefs are all that the person understands if you're not being taught. If you're not in search of the truth, you're just gonna go through the motions because society sets it up so you just gotta get with the movement and think you're doing something. However, spiritual practice, aka right thinking philosophy, allows you to what? Discover the underlying essence of your mind with knowledge and understanding that you can implement and manifest for yourself. And this occurs when to every person in the world every single day of their lives, albeit indirectly. A lot of us go through the motion, don't have a clue. That's being ignorant. Okay, so it's up to you to become knowledgeable by searching out or finding your boy. When you go to sleep, watch this. You experience dreams, but at other times there is no dreams and there is no awareness of the world. What happens to your ego then? It's dissolved into your consciousness just as a wave will subside in the ocean from which it arises. When you wake up, you feel refreshed. Your experience of transcendental feeling, but do not specifically what remember what happened because it's in that unconscious state you're unaware of. Watch this. What would happen if you were to cause the waves of thoughts and egoistic desires to what? Subside while you were in the state of wakefulness? You would discover what? In a curious, in a conscious way, you would discover in a conscious way what? The same truth that you experienced in that deep, dreamless sleep. Why? You would discover that what? There is a deeper part of yourself which sustains your true personality and day to day realities. That's the spirit. And it is this deeper essence of who you are that what? That manifests as the three states of consciousness: dullness, ignorance, agitation, more ignorance, and lucidity, becoming aware. That's the three phases: conscious, unconscious, and subconscious. And watch this. And in the seven manifestations of the psycho spiritual consciousness, which is the chakras, they call them the energy centers. I know that we call it serpent power, but this is your higher self, that part of you, watch this, which is not dependent on the outside world and the desires of your ego self. When you discover and abide in this state of consciousness, aka being awoke, you are now free from your lower states of consciousness, aka set, the ego. You become an enlightened sage, a knower of what? The true meaning of the teachings, and the monarch or the ruler over every aspect of who? Your personality, aka knowing thyself, self-mastery. That's what this is all about. And what happened? You become supremely peaceful. Hotep, that's the level. And what happened? You rise above all temptations. This is why all temptations and illusions. This is why the spirit is symbolized by the falcon. Why? Because it can fly as high as anything else, and your conscious, your spirit can do that above all things. But when it has you with it, it's going home. That's the concept. And the highest, watch this, the highest self is to what? To be discovered how? By the following plan as presented in the story of Heru and Tahuti. They have been discussed at length throughout this gloss and are presented some summarily below. Watch this. I'm going to break it down for you. Sum it out. Even though the principles from the story of Haru and Tahuti have been presented below as a succession in a hierarchical order, all of these disciplines are best practiced in an integral fashion. This means that you do not wait to perfect Maya philosophy before starting to practice detachment. You should practice all of these as life presents you with opportunities to test your spiritual strength or your het hadu faculty. Do you really know you? The essence of you is who you really are. And I'm going to end on that note. Yeah, like another lesson. I'm gonna start a fresh lesson. But on that note, that's the fourth parable of getting to know who you are. The Haru in you is geared by Tahuti too. So I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Hope you got it. I'll be back with more. We're not done.